Hello everyone, James here from Sales Builder. I'm here at the MSP show and I'm talking to as many MSP industry experts as I possibly can. And I'm here with the one and only Mark Copeman from Wingman MSP Marketing. Mark, how you doing?
I'm good, James. I'm good. Although I would say, looking at your little camera, in the final edit, will you make me look a little bit taller when this goes out?
I'll do my best. I can adjust.
Good man. Thank you. I appreciate that. I do feel very small sat next to you.
Yeah, I'm something of a freak of nature. Don't worry, everyone does. It's fine. Listen, I guess it's fair to say you're best known in the industry for helping MSPs with perhaps their marketing processes, their websites. But today I'd like to talk about something slightly different, and that's kind of what happens after you've generated the world's best, most qualified leads for your customers. How does the sales process look? So I'm trying to understand what the best MSPs are doing in terms of a sales process. Can you elaborate perhaps a little bit on that?
Yeah, I can try, and everybody's different. And when we hand over leads, they're generally pretty well qualified. Certainly if our telemarketing team have been calling people up, and then we provide as much detail as we possibly can to that intelligence, I suppose, about what that prospect's looking for and so on and so on. But what we see is that there are some MSP owners who, even whilst they've been given that information, they're still a little bit nervy, a little bit unsure as to how to take that prospect through that sales process. And everybody is different, so we help people in different ways. And obviously we have some initial contact to be made. We have perhaps that first meeting, which may or may not be online. We then have proposals, and then we have follow-ups, and then we have goes. There's a whole bunch of things that goes into it, and sometimes I think it's very hard to define it exactly, but there's a bunch of things in there, different ways that we help people out, which goes beyond the sort of the traditional marketing process.
Okay, so I'm going to push you slightly then. So if it was your MSP and you could design the perfect sales process, you've delivered a lead that's qualified, what should the first step be, and are there any mistakes you should avoid in terms of the initial outreach, that initial approach?
Yeah, and I think if it's an inbound lead, it's perhaps different, but if an agency like ourselves has handed over something, you as a business owner or salesperson wouldn't necessarily have had any contact already. So I think establishing that first piece of dialogue is really, really important, and doing it in the right way. And we had an example, literally just this week, where we were helping somebody through this process, and we were, I guess, encouraging them to, first of all, make contact in the right way, be personable, but also I think it's a really nice touch if you can have done just a little bit of homework before you make that first approach.
Are we talking about a first phone call here, or?
So perhaps a meeting's been set. Every situation will be slightly different, but when you, the business owner, makes that first piece of contact with a prospect, what bit of nugget of information can you throw into that initial email? So, for example, you might have done a bit of a security scan. You might have had a look at their DNS settings or whatever. You might see some holes there. And the idea of literally before you've even had that first conversation, when you introduce yourself in an email, say, hi, I'm Dave. Really looking forward to meeting you in 2 weeks' time at this particular meeting. We've just done a bit of digging. By the way, I have noticed there's a couple of issues with the way your DNS is set up and your email deliverability or whatever it may be, and I'm really looking forward to talking to you about that when we meet. So you're adding some value before you've even engaged with that particular prospect, which I think is a really powerful thing to do, and it adds a bit of intrigue value, I think, as well. So I think that first contact is it's the impulse advert, isn't it? That you only get one chance to make a first impression. That's the point where you need to do it. So really think that first email introduction through. Don't just immediately connect to someone on LinkedIn and send them a LinkedIn message. No.
Is that one of the things to avoid then? Just doing it all via LinkedIn?
I had not necessarily, but it's like I think you can become too eager. And I think just relaxing through the sales process by being who you are and providing as much value as you possibly can along the way before you've even started that proper conversation, then immediately you're seen in a very, very positive light.
And so is there a place for video here? Because obviously we do a lot of video content. That's a great way to make a human connection. Would you say that's something that should be incorporated along the way, or where should that come?
Yeah, possibly. And there's so many people that can be afraid of video. Honestly, I think after the pandemic, there's fewer people around because everyone's just so much more used to speaking on camera. But there's a difference between taking a Teams call and actually pre-recording something for somebody. I would Loom is probably Loom and Calendly are probably my two favourite things in the whole universe.
They're wonderful tools.
I cannot live without them. So the idea, and every situation is different, but the idea, so for example, that initial introduction stage when you're literally just beginning that sales process, if it's relevant and you've seen something, I don't know, it could be, oh, by the way, I noticed there's an error on your website, by the way, nothing to do with you offering IT services, just record a little Loom. Add some value. Show them something that you're a decent human being and you're trying to help them. It doesn't matter if it's something it's outside of the IT scope. Any value you can add will be a good thing. So yeah, getting used to recording a 2-3 minute bite-sized chunk on Loom to explain something, to talk through something, to answer asynchronously.
Yes,
you can't always jump on a call.
Yeah,
I think is a really, really good skill.
And that doesn't half make you stand out from the competition.
We get this all the time. It's like, wow, no one's ever done this for us before,
Yeah.
And I recorded something just yesterday for somebody that just needed a little bit of guidance, and I said, you know what I'm going to do? Just record you a quick Loom, and they were just like, oh my god, thank you so much. Easy. So I think it's a habit thing, James. I really do.
Yes.
If you're not set up, if it's different, you haven't got the right camera, you haven't got the right mic, everything's a hassle, you'll never do it.
Yeah.
Make your life easier, and bring these little bits of these chunks of video into the sales process where appropriate.
Love that. Can we talk quickly proposals?
Yeah.
So we've made an initial first connection. We feel like they know, like, and trust us.
Yeah.
Ready for the next stage.
Yeah.
We're ready to talk kind of our recommendations. What are the mistakes you see in proposal creation? So, and what do the best MSPs you're working with do in terms of the way they communicate in those documents?
Yeah, look, every proposal is going to be very, very different depending on the service that's being offered. So I get it's quite hard to generalize. Sometimes they need to be super detailed. There's going to be SKUs all over the place, and I get that, and you need that level of detail. But I think sometimes we can overcomplicate. Sometimes less is more. And I think the idea, from our business, we actually produce our proposals, dare I say it, in PowerPoint. It's simple bulleted type documents with images and so on. That's not necessarily appropriate for an MSP, but that principle of simplicity, I think, is really important. And one of the other things I think people sometimes miss a trick on is, of course, people are looking for numbers and an element of detail in their proposal. But what are they also looking for? They're looking to know that you're doing a fabulous job for other clients as well. So the idea of drip feeding in, where relevant, little bite-sized quotes of text from happy customers along the way. Those personal moments. The photography of the team, which is hopefully on your website.
Yes, not the stock images, not the white teeth.
You've got it. You've been watching my stuff.
I want to see.
But I think if you've gone to the effort of creating those sorts of assets, use them all over. Make this a document somebody wants to read as opposed to someone's got to go through.
Has to get through it. Just get to the numbers.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So there's some of my thoughts on that.
That's really good advice. Mark, as always, loads of nuggets of wisdom. It's always a pleasure chatting to you.
You're welcome. You're going to make me bigger, yeah?
I'm going to work my Photoshop Premiere magic.
Thank you very much.
Do you want to do a quick plug? Where can people get in touch with you, or where can they learn more about Wingman MSP Marketing?
Absolutely. You just said it. wingmanmspmarketing.com. You'll find out all about us there. Or connect to me on LinkedIn, and we share quite a lot of stuff. And I love helping people out.
Lovely. Great talking to you as always.
Thanks, James. Cheers.